So let's proceed with our next panel discussion. As you can see, our moderator is already joining me on screen. Hi, I'll get back to you in a bit. Let's talk about our topic for today. Now, we're going to be discussing public-private partnerships to accelerate SME digitalization. Now, we all know that public-private partnerships are necessary to focus Malaysia's resources and boost economic growth in the country. Now, doing so not only helps accelerate the development and deployment of new age digital products and services for businesses and SMEs, but it also ensures that SMEs get the support they need to fully develop their digital capabilities. Our moderator for today is the CEO and founder of DNA, Karamjit Singh. Hello!
Hi, Paul. How are you, Lauren?
I am good. It's so nice to see you again.
Thank you. Here too. Same here.
And you're going to be our moderator for today. You always do a fantastic job. So I'm sure everyone who is watching, the 462 people on Zoom who are watching right now, are interested in this panel discussion already.
Okay, great. So we'll take it from there. We'll just jump straight in. I think what's interesting is actually we've got Pauline also, who's from FinLab Singapore. Not because she's the only lady on the panel, but because UOB has been working with governments across 3 countries. So it'll be interesting to hear her perspective of the experience she has, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to get started right away. And Pauline, the first question for you is, you've been working, like I was saying, that with governments across 3 countries in the region. So what is I guess, the value of working with them, versus you going direct in each of the countries?
Okay.
And I know you're targeting SMEs in all 3 countries also, so that's a given, yeah.
Yeah, so thanks, Karamjit. Firstly, I'd like to say that I hope I won't be the only female on panels in future. But yeah, I think, for FinLab, we have been working with the government agencies in Thailand, Malaysia, and Singapore in the past 2 years. We have had a very good experience with MDEC in Jom Transform last year. So I think, when we talk about the objective as big and a cost that's as big as SME digitalization, we all know right now that there is a very huge need for SMEs to embark on digitalization, especially with COVID right now, right? And it's a big cost. So, the best and the fastest way to do this is if we all collaborate, and then we can get everybody to move there and reach the destination faster. So one thing is, on the one hand, you have governments that understand where they want the national economy to head towards. What are the areas and needs on the ground, and they can effect policies to meet these needs. And then on the other hand, you have private enterprises like UOB and the FinLab, and we are ready to activate resources to operationalize and really impact the end users. And we also get the feedback on what the impact of these policies, the impact of solutions and activities have on their businesses. So when these 2 parties come together, it's like a good handshake, that we all can work together and bring the whole community towards. And I think that is the end goal. It is really to see that whatever policies has been put in place, whatever plans that, as a private enterprise, we want to roll out, it has a real impact for the businesses that we want to reach. Yeah.
But when you just quickly, so when you walk across the 3 countries, do you find any differences in how you have to work with the governments, or it's the same?
Actually, I think every country has your own unique needs in the business community and different areas of focus. So that's where the partnership is also critical, because we understand from the agencies where the areas of focus. And then for FinLab, although our program is born in Singapore, but when we brought the program to Thailand and Malaysia, we also spoke a lot. We discussed with MDEC, understood the needs, where the direction is going. We worked very closely with our local UOB Malaysia colleagues to understand the unique needs of their customers, and then we localized the program. So in every country that we operate, there is a level of localization that's required. Because ultimately, you have to be relevant to the local business.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, understand the needs. That's just standard business practice also. Okay, Muhu, I'm going to get to you last because you're outnumbered by the private sector. So I will get their views first. Then I'll come to you, right, with the question. So maybe we'll go to Chan next. Chan, if you can share, you know, perspective of why, you know, why you work with government, and I'm sure you all also go direct a lot, you know, and going direct is for you all is very digital, whereas maybe with government it's very high touch instead of high tech. So I'm not sure.
Right. Maybe I'll share my perspective from a private sector. I think for us, we go direct, right? We only can target a selective group of a target audience. Normally will be those are more digital savvy, those more online savvy users. But we know to really make this whole digitalization strategy a success, we need to work very closely hand in hand, regardless it's a government sectors or other larger private sector like UOB, FinLab, or even Digi and other partners that we have. Because each of us have our own unique group of our target audience. Especially, I think by working closely and leveraging on the community and also influence MDEC has, right? It can reach out to more grassroots users, more end users, those you know, Machikia alike kind of audience, small businesses. So I think the other important part to take note is if we ourselves alone, I think the voice is not being heard enough, it's not strong enough. But through the collaboration and also all the various parties, we together work together, shout out the same messages at the right timing, at the same timing. I think, you know, it will be heard by more people. So it's more impactful. And also by collaboration, it can reduce some unnecessary redundancy. For example, right, you know, let's say if all the parties here, all the panelists here, everyone doing their own webinars, doing their own workshops, actually it's redundant, right? If we can combine and we do it together and share the content, share the resources, share the tips, I think that'll be more impactful in that way.
Okay, interesting. Yesterday I was, yesterday or day before, I met with somebody from the Selangor Human Resource Development Corporation, and then yesterday I was talking to the head of a government agency, and they were saying, both kind of saying that the key also is to get the technology service providers, which are, you know, SMEs, right, to work, to collaborate, you know, when they go out to the market. So, you know, working with government is a form of collaboration also. All right, now we'll bring in Praveen, who's got some funky headphones on. I see, you know, I think it was borrowed from his son, lah.
Yeah, trying to keep up with times.
Okay, so I mean, for I'm a Digi customer. But you know, if those of you who follow the telco scene will know that, because you know it's such a competitive scene, you know, all our big three telcos in Malaysia are world class, right? Why do you collaborate, you know, with government? And I know you all go direct also a lot of customers, and maybe the speeds are different, right? When you work with government and you work with the private sector, the speed they work with is different, but you're able to do that also. So share with us the value you see versus when you all go alone. And I found Chan interesting, saying that the voice is louder when you collaborate. Interesting.
Yeah, and I think the points that were mentioned earlier, we also see similar points. The collaboration with, say, MDEC and other government-related agencies is very important for our business. And I use the word ecosystem here, which we also learned from DNA before. It allows us to be linked to the ecosystem, allows us to be linked to other technology service providers, for example, which we may not have had access to. So to me, that value of the ecosystem play that the government agencies can bring is very valuable. Going direct, everybody will say they will go direct. We also do it, but it is sufficient for us to go direct when we know what we are trying to provide. So usually very clear cut. If you think about Digi, we provide the infrastructure and connectivity as the main thing. That we can do direct. But even so, there are many areas where we need to collaborate with government agencies to go out even further. If you think areas outside of Kuala Lumpur, even more pertinent for us to be closer to state-backed agencies, for example.
Okay. So I'm already sensing a common theme, which is that I think it helps you deepen your reach, you know, when you collaborate with government. And also, I guess, for SMEs, you know, and when I speak to the SME Association of Malaysia, they say that SMEs are always a bit doubtful of technology players coming to them. You know, are they going to try to take advantage of them? Because, you know, the SMEs have very little knowledge base. But then being a trusted party working in government, they say, okay, no, because government will take care of our interests also. So
there's
now
more credibility there, yeah.
the value that MDEC sees, as a government agency going out and partnering with the private sector, where sometimes, of course, the interests are different, right? One is purely, almost always commercial oriented, and whereas you all are, is nation building.
Yeah, thanks, Karam. Thanks for, glad to be part of this session. I think the first thing is when you look at it from, Malaysia, the whole idea of pushing the digital economy, yeah, and also for us to tap into the USD 300 billion internet economy. That's a crucial component. That's the digital agenda, right? The digital economy agenda. Plus, to be able to support more than 907,000 SMEs out there. Right? I think that's just the official number. Obviously, the number is much larger than that. The only way for us to do this is through public-private partnership. I think that's crucial. That's typically when we come into certain segments like helping the SMEs, we look at what is already available and what are the things that probably are not there yet. Some areas, for example, in supporting the SMEs in helping them to giving them hand-holding, for example, right? Things are probably not there yet a couple of years ago. And this is where government comes in, MDEC comes in to kickstart, and where the small amount of funds that we have is enough for us to sort of build that capability. And the only way for us to scale this is actually to work with the private sector. So I think scalability is one point I would put across.
Scale, okay.
Right, and the other layer that I would probably add on will also be, it's also a kind of validation for MDEC when we are actually going out working hand in hand with the industry. Okay. And that's crucial because otherwise, the amount of funds we put in and also the kind of work that we put in, we need to see that these are all outcome-based. One key thing that we look at when we work with the partners is, of course, to look at it from an outcome-based perspective. Ultimately, the focus is to support the SME and their specific outcomes. Like all the partners we work here, we say, can we look at it from a, let's say, for example, productivity improvements, or could it be a reduction of costs? It could even be a creation of a new business model for the traditional businesses. And these are the things that we keep our that's our true north, the kind of alignment that we keep on going. We don't say that we can achieve it immediately. We understand that the private sectors would definitely have the commercial element in place.
Yeah.
You can't take that out.
Correct.
It only makes sense. But we also work with partners who see the national agenda, they have that in mind, at least in the conceptualization of it, and also in terms of how we track the progress of the SME. So that's really crucial. And Karam, the best example I can give is actually today's event. This today's summit would not have happened without all the private sector's involvement, more than 60 over organizations coming together, the corporates, technology solution providers, associations, media such as yourself, with the support of Exabytes to run this show would not have happened, in such a short period of time. Everybody came together. Yes, Praveen, you're right. It's an ecosystem effort.
Okay, yeah, interesting. I mean, definitely adoption has accelerated. Now, actually, one key impact for all those who are listening, look, this session is about, public-private partnership with and promoting SME digitization. So the key question is for all of you, when you collaborate with government with private sector, and I'll start with you first, Chan. Yeah, Pauline, I'll come to you third now. I'll give you a break instead of ladies first always. Have you seen impact? Have the SMEs that have received these programs from this partnership benefited or not? That's the key. That's the money question, right?
Yes, for sure. But also bear in mind, right? Digital adoption is not a superpower or super magic that the results will be happening overnight. I think one thing for clear, at least is proven over the past 3-4 months during the MCO period, SME with more digital or technology capabilities, they actually survive better, or some of them even prosper during the past few months during the lockdown, right? Compared to those SMEs who are not just SME, even a lot of large enterprises, which is fully retail or fully offline. Their whole business operation is pretty much standstill. They can't do much. So there's a question that I think been circulated recently, right? Are you prepared for the next lockdown? Are you prepared for the next MCO?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So right now, I would say it's the best timing. If it's not now, it's when, right? To actually get yourself fully empowered, fully digitalized, right?
Yeah.
You can't be 100% digitalized, but you have to start somewhere.
Of course. I mean, that's already a given for those who attend various webinars and all. But Praveen, also, I'll ask you specifically, when you have collaborated with MDEC, right, in programs targeting SMEs, do you find that the SMEs have benefited more, from this collaboration, these programs? And then the same question for you, Pauline, after this.
I think the ease of getting access to information, the ease of getting access to best practices, I think they definitely benefit. Whether it's benefit more or not, I think probably hard to quantify, but I think more the ease of getting access to it is definitely there.
Okay. Pauline, for you, do you find the impact on your SMEs is stronger when you collaborate with government to reach out to them with your programs?
I think it's always about what value do we bring together. And, the Drone Transform program that we have kicked off with MDEC this year, it's a very good example of that, because through the Drone Transform program, the SMEs actually get to understand where's the best place for them to prioritize their digitalization needs. And then they will, look for the tech solution partners that we curate, and they select and they scope. And then after that, it connects to the MDEC Smart Automation grant that they can apply for.
Yes.
And when they apply, then, you will know that they will have thought through the entire business model, who is suitable for me and why I want to do this, what outcomes I want to achieve. And they scope this whole application and project out before they go to MDEC. And then for MDEC, of course, I think all of Muhu, you would like to see very complete application, and you'll be happy to give the money away for very worthwhile digitalization projects. Yeah, so I think this Drone Transform itself is a very good example of how we bring our complementary areas that we play in and sharpen it for the SMEs to really truly benefit and see the value creation for their business. And of course, when you bring value, then naturally the SMEs will see the value, and they will see that, oh, you are a good partner for their business as they grow. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Pauline, while now the rest are talking, I think because you brought up the word Drone Transform. So Pauline has smartly done some marketing for UOB here. So you just type in the URL for them so that people can have a look since you brought it up for them. Yeah. Okay. So, but I think, so there's this question about conversion. So private sector, of course, is all about conversion. And then, so again, a Chan for you, do you find that, Praveen, do you find the conversion of the SMEs greater after you work with government? When I mean conversion means then they suddenly come on and be a customer of Exabytes, right, with some of your services. Because in the end, you're obviously hoping for that conversion also. So,
yes, I think with the programs and also the grants from the government or support from the government, for example, the MDEC SME TSP program, it helped to convert the specific group of SMEs where in the past they are hesitating. They feel like, yes, I heard enough on digital, I should go digital. But that costs some money, and I never done that before. So they were hesitating. But now with the support and also the grants, and also more importantly, everyone shouting the consistent messaging, then I felt, okay, now I have slightly higher confidence. Why not I give it a try? So definitely the answer is a clear yes, that it helped increase the conversion. Nice. I think since the initiative from MDEC and all the various efforts, right, we start to see there are more inquiries from the type of more traditional SME that we never thought that would actually come on board.
Oh, okay, nice. Nice, very good. So Praveen, for you also, do you find conversion of SMEs, when you engage with them through a government, through MDEC in this case, right, higher for you all? Because then that would obviously mean that you want to keep working with government agencies when you do your outreach programs, right?
Yeah, what we notice is we get to access a bit more of the longer tail of SMEs through programs. So we are also a technology service provider.
Of course, yeah, correct.
And what we notice clearly is the longer tail of SMEs, to Chan's point earlier, we get access to that through collaborations with MDEC and other similar agencies.
Yeah. So just quickly, while we're talking, because I'm focused on the screen here, if there are questions that any of you panelists want to answer, just keep mind of those questions, and you can interject and say, okay, let me answer this question, all right? Instead of waiting till the end. You miss out, right? So I will leave it to you all to pick interesting questions from the audience. So now, Pauline, for you, that question also, do you find the conversion, and I think for you, it's been very specific. I think you've worked with in your programs across the 3 countries, I think we were talking the other day, about almost 40 SMEs. So at the end now, when you look back, do you find some of them who were not your customers before are now becoming UOB customers? Because that's the question that your boss is going to ask. So he's not going to say how great the collaboration went with MDEC, right? How many of them are our customers now? Are we making money or not from them? So which is a fair question to ask, right?
Yeah. So I think when we work with the SMEs in the program in the past 2 years, it was a very deep dive approach, and therefore we really got down to the needs that each SME has, not just digitalization, but also
of course.
In terms of cash flow financing.
Yep.
Right? And we do see, in fact, we recently published a report together with Accenture and Dun & Bradstreet. It's a report done on ASEAN SME transformation study.
Oh, nice.
So in that study, actually, we saw 8 in 10 SMEs, they want to digitalize or they want to use digital tools to improve their cash flow and management.
Oh,
so
80%, wow, okay.
Yeah, so where these needs are surfaced and we uncover these needs, there, it's then a good time for us to, share with them how what UOB solution has in terms of cash flow management and financing. So what it gives is really a good feedback for us in terms of the needs of the SMEs, very much at the deeper level, the needs of the SMEs when it comes to digitalization. And of course, for the digitalization areas, we also feedback to the partners that we work with. This is what we see. And for the program this year, we hope to reach many more, hundreds more, and also to get that feedback so that the impact can continuously be refined and improved. Because I think when we roll things out, we want to see what's the impact, what's the feedback, and then we can keep on fine-tuning it. So actually, public-private partnerships do encourage a greater amount of innovation as well.
Okay. So I guess for you, when you say your partner, also, then it's got a group of technology providers that it partners with also, so that they roll out some of the services that the SMEs need. So that's what she's talking about, working with partners. So I guess my question was that are you seeing this SMEs starting to become UOB banking customers also? Because maybe when they go into the program, they may not be, right?
Yeah, so we are open to existing or non-UOB customers.
Of course.
But along the way, I mean, they get to understand what UOB is about more. And of course, we will be happy to share what we have, where the needs are.
And build a relationship. So you see, Pauline is not saying yes or no, but I assume some of them have become her customers.
Actually, banking is about relationship and trust.
Yeah, true. And that's why your programs are quite long, you're right. So you build that relationship, the comfort, the trust level, because it's actually not easy for someone to want to switch banking customers also. But if you build that level of confidence and they get value from your program.
Sorry, I lost you a bit there.
Or is your JOM Transform a 6-month-long program?
No, so the one that we're running this year, it's actually only a couple of weeks. So it will, the program itself will be completed within a month. And then we can prepare for the application for the MDEC grant.
Understood. Okay. So Muhu, sorry, when you're listening to this about, I'm asking about the commercial impact. How does government then judge impact of these programs?
Sure, Karam. I think the primary objective for us is always going back to the SMEs. Right? How can the SMEs benefit from this? Well, and there's a lot of data points that we get as well from all the surveys and all the engagements that we do. And all these data points, understanding that we share with our private sector partners. So we always start with an outcome in mind, and that gives us a bit more easier way of focusing. For example, with UOB, this year we said, okay, look, it's just post MCO, and we know that companies, SMEs particularly, are challenged when it comes to operating their business. It's is how can I continue my operation? That's one thing. Second is also we know that there are several sectors who are in dire need, right? Heavily disrupted, F&B, logistics, retail.
Travel.
Travel as well, tourism. So when we speak with our partners, we say, can we align to some of this? How can we help this targeted groups? It's open to all, but there's also this kind of understanding. So this is where I think MDEC, because of all the different data points that we have access to from government as well as from other private sectors, it makes us, it gives us an opportunity to share this with the private sectors, which probably may not have access to. For example, we just recently did a survey with our state partners, with all the SMEs out there. And interesting point, I think we know this, but this sort of validated it. 90% of them said, now, post-MCO, 90% of them said that they get it, they have to do digital, right? But unfortunately, less than half of them say that they know how to do it. So the issue now is not very much on the awareness, but it's very much in terms of how do I start my digital journey? And that's the kind of conversation that we have with our partners, right? How can we help SMEs to give them the hand-holding? Second is, how can the hand-holding be enhanced further? Previously, we talked about all these grants. Fine, fantastic, they are money here and there. But to me, it has to be smart grant, right? It can't be just grant with some kind of milestones. What does smart grant mean? It means that we take you through a journey for you to understand what are the pain points and opportunities in digital first. Prioritize them, and then the grant will make more sense to you. So when we work with technology solution providers like Exabytes and Digi, we plugged in the SME Business Digitalization grant.
Okay, yeah.
It's not just you going and applying for the grant. Your 5,000 ringgit is not much.
Yeah, true.
You know how to maximize, you know what is the best out there, as well as how do you look at it from an outcomes base. One. The Smart Automation Grant, which was just recently launched under the Penjana initiative, which goes up to about 200,000 ringgit for the services sector. We're partnering with private sectors, for example, like UOB, as Pauline just now, to incorporate the hand-holding component, similarly as well. So now you are much more ready in terms of how you can maximize on the grant, mainly from an outcome. So this is really important for the SMEs. We always put the idea of look at it from an outcome base.
True.
Digital doesn't have to be expensive, right? When you look at it from an outcome base and you can rate that minimal viable product, as they call it, or a pilot, then you see that you can immediately get some return of investment in a very short time. And that's where all these grants come into play. They're not for you to spend on the entire infrastructure. But it's actually to kickstart. But unfortunately, sometimes this kind of idea is it's not in the mind of the SMEs, because they think that I'm getting money so I can just spend it on some hardware and software and I'll be able to see some benefit. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. And that's from years of experience that we have had in managing some of the grants. So now the public-private partnership makes a lot more sense to us. All the different hand-holding components. So they can come in and spend a bit of investment there. Obviously for obvious reasons for them as well, in terms of getting their database and all that. Government comes in to ensure that the right data points are looked at. Right problems are being solved as well. Plus then a smarter way of us to also plug in all these different kind of grants that we have.
Understood. So one key theme I'm hearing is the word grant, the magic word. So Praveen, for you, Praveen is smiling also. Would you work with a government agency if there was no grant attached to the collaboration?
Yes, we would. A short answer to that. And our collaborations have dated back, even before the current grant available. Very important for us. The grant helps the conversations, as it was earlier mentioned. It helps to ease the conversation. It helps to nudge those who are on the fence to now cross over. So it makes it a bit easier.
Okay. Chan, for you, do you find that there's more engagement or response from the market when there's a grant attached to your collaboration with a government agency?
For sure, because I think with the programs available, I think like the current TSP SME programs, create additional eyeballs, right? You obviously more people are talking about the criticalness of you need to go digital, and now it's not just you need to go digital. Government also come in and support. That further will help them to concrete. Okay, that direction is valid, is correct. So I think definitely that helped to increase the traction.
Okay. Yes, go ahead, Mo.
I think it's not just MDEC per se. I think the synchronization of all the different agencies, SME Corp, MPC, and many other agencies, it's also already happening, and we see that. And I think because digitalization now has really taken the front seat of what the government wants to do, wants to push, and it is a natural sort of collaboration that happens. So, for example, just at the onset of this summit, we launched the dx.com.my, which is a portal to help SMEs, sort of like almost like a one-stop, where when it comes to digitalization, you can have access to the different kind of programs, incentives, as well as solution providers, right? Which I encourage everyone to go in there. It's free of charge. Register yourself. But more importantly, is that the whole idea behind it is that once you go in, you get profile. And you get linked to all the different kinds of initiatives based on your profile.
Okay.
That sometimes is a bit difficult when it comes to digitalization, when you have to go to multiple agencies.
Yeah.
To understand this. So this is a good sort of initiative which is really put together not just by MDEC, but with the rest of the agencies as well.
Of course, it has to be cross-agency collaboration, yeah.
Correct. Yeah, that's right. So the public-private partnership extends to all these different kind of agencies. And what you rightly say is actually part of the ecosystem that's being built.
So, okay, this is very interesting. There's a question here for you, but I want to just get, because this DX website is new, right?
Yes.
Okay, so from what I understand, if I'm an SME, if I go in and I fill up the questionnaire about, my needs, my wants, my challenges, and what happens is that in the future, maybe a few months down the road or 1 year down the road, when there's a particular program from the government that matches some of my needs, I will automatically get an alert saying, "Hey, Karamjit, there's this new program that you remember you said this about your organization, your challenges. Are you interested or not?" Do you mean that this is what the website will, the intelligence behind the website will do for the SMEs also?
You're right, Karam.
Wow, fantastic.
Yes, at present, it's already, from an MDEC standpoint, the program's already connected. Even if you go in now, you can register.
Nice.
And is that you can build your profile. So you'll have your own account there. So
understood.
For you to build your profile, obviously you have to give us a bit more information about your company, about your sales and whatever not. But then automatically, once you finish the profiling, you will already be connected to some of the programs or very relevant to you. So it's almost like a pre-qualifying thing. It doesn't guarantee that you'll get all this.
Yeah, of course.
It gives you an understanding of where you can start.
Yeah. No, this is very good. I mean, this is something valuable for UOB, Digi, and even Exabytes to alert their SME customers, right? Hey, go in and share your profile, because then you'll get, alert that there's a particular program available, and maybe not now, maybe down the road, right? That you could possibly apply for. That's fantastic. Because when I speak to many SME owners, when they're reluctant to go after these programs, and then sometimes they say, "Oh, I asked my finance," very interesting. They'll say, not HR, they'll ask their finance people to go and, "Hey, I heard something like, the tall Singh say got something there, go and check and see." And then they rely on the staff to do it. And if the staff don't do it, or the staff will say, "Hey, boss, too difficult, no, not serious." And then you just give up like that. So this is this you say MDEC's programs are plugged in, hopefully all the other agencies, right, from the Agriculture Ministry agency right down to maybe Zoology A to Z, plug in there, it'll be fantastic. Yes, so, okay, just quickly, sorry, there's a question for you, Muhu, right? And then if the rest of you want, because I think we are running out of time, and for some reason, I'm getting an alert also that my 500 meg line is unstable. I got to complain to Unify after this. Okay, quick question, one question.
Karamjit,
yes.
Just breathe. You still have 8 minutes left, no worries.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Very tension. I say our time is already 11 o'clock. Okay, thanks, Lorraine. Okay, 8 minutes, okay. So Muhu, the question is, I think you'd have seen it, right? There's this impression that trying to work with government and agencies is tricky and conditional depending on the interests of the government. Do you find there's any truth to this?
Well, Karam, I think any government would have their agenda put across.
Of course.
people, businesses, and the communities, right?
Yeah.
I think as private sectors, it's also onus on us to understand what is the direction and what is the objective. I won't be able to speak for all the agencies out there, but if you look at MDEC, our primary objective, like for myself, for example, is SME adoption. So, and we speak with everyone who is very clear that they have the nation's interest first, as well as how can we help to build or scale the current work that's being done. So we always look at private sector as not to compete, but rather to complement. So I think sometimes this is where the outcomes need to be clear. I think we have this conversation. Sometimes on the onset, we think we have the right outcomes discussed, but along the way, maybe the alignment may be missing. So both sides, I think we need to come back. Sometimes the alignments changes as well.
Okay, understood.
Yeah, this is, I think we need to, I think it's a constant conversation that needs to be held, like what we have done with UOB, for example. Last year, we just came in as one of the partners. But then I think I was very clear with Pauline. I said, Pauline, we're not just going to put our logo up there. I think you can do it very easily. But work on certain outcome. Can you show us, or when we work together, I spend my time as a mentor, and also the team spend a bit of time to promote this. We said what we want to see is that can we get X number of SMEs with some kind of adoption, right? And what would that adoption be? So when we did that, and then it made a lot of sense, and now we're looking at how we can scale. Digi and Exabytes as well.
That's right. Okay. Yes, I've got two more questions and then we'll end. But the second, there's one question from somebody asking for specific examples of digitization of the SMEs, right? So think about that for the three of you and share one example, and you can name the company if you want to, or what they did, right, which they were not doing before. But before that, because give you time to think of an example, maybe can you share best practices, right, when you want to engage with somebody, listening who may want to reach out to MDEC and say, can we do a PPP or not? But they may be worried that they're not a big brand like you guys, right? And will MDEC want to work with them? So can you give some one or two tips on how you can best, partner and work with a government agency? So maybe I'll start with Chan first from Exabytes.
Yes, I believe like many other agencies, right, even a company like us, we receive a lot of proposal wanted to collaborate on a daily basis. Right?
Oh, wow.
But there are only so many that we can handle. Right? So I think one tips is, sometimes we may not be able to work directly with the bigger agency or bigger companies, but how about work with their second tier or third tier, right? For example, I think again, today's event is a good example. Maybe some of us yet to work directly with MDEC, but maybe by joining as an event, as a panelist or as a speaker, at least you work in one of the programs, right? Then from there, I think it's slowly to build up the capabilities and also creditabilities, right? So one word that I think I learned throughout the journey is that to be patient.
Patient.
Not just patient, a lot of patience needed when dealing with the agency, but I think a lot more patience even needed when dealing with the SMEs. They need a lot of handholding, explanation, guidance, workshop support, right? So that is like not overnight success. You really need to invest a lot of time, resources to actually work through all this together.
Okay, interesting. So let me jump to Pauline first, because Chan brought up the word hand holding. But Singapore is a first world economy, developed one of the top economies in the world. So do you find that your SMEs also need hand holding, or they are ready to run?
Actually, I think the SMEs, not just in Singapore, but also in the region, actually everybody is ready to run. But oftentimes, to Chan's point, right, the typical challenge is really how do I start and where do I start? Because there are so many things, so many innovation out there. And when it comes to a business model, many SMEs, when they start their business, it is very much based on the opportunities at that time. They might really have sat down to look at their business model in a framework and structured approach. So I think that's typically one of the hurdles to SME digitalization. And also for the fact that there are a lot of tech solutions out there who, of course, everybody will say they're the best.
Yes.
But I think what they need to know or do is to choose the one that's good for their business and that fits with their business strategy in the future.
Sure.
So these are the points where when it comes to hand-holding, we come in to support and help SMEs to figure out, because they are their own domain experts.
Yeah, of course. Yes.
Yeah, so actually, it's not really for lack of will or lack of desire. The SMEs all have this desire to digitalize, and right now, I think everybody, to everyone, this is the top of agenda right now. It's really just how to get started. Yeah.
I think the 80%, like I think Muhu was saying, and then even for you, the survey that you did, you said with Accenture and what?
Dun and Bradstreet. So the survey did show that now the SMEs have prioritized digitalization as their top priority for to lead in the industry.
Okay. So Pauline, the question I wanted to ask was tips for how best can you engage with government then?
I think
best practice.
I mean, earlier Muhu alluded to this. Really, I think it's about being clear in terms of objectives and ensuring that there is alignment in terms of objectives and what each party is able to bring to the table that brings about synergies. So I think when we look at collaboration, we are really looking at synergies and being able to reach more together, be able to achieve a lot more impact and outcomes together. So I think this is a good framework to start with whenever we engage with any partners, including government agencies.
Okay. Praveen, quick one. Sorry. Thanks. Praveen, for you, any tips on how best to work with government agencies?
I think it's a little bit of patience is required.
A little bit, huh? Okay, I thought Chan said a lot. Okay, you're being more diplomatic, lah.
It's subjective, but I think that patience and building the relationship, you have to invest in it. You won't get results immediately because everybody has their objectives. I think that's one thing we've learned. Yeah.
Okay, understood. So maybe if we don't have enough time for everyone to ask, can each of you just give one example, including you, Muhu, an example of a successful digitization by a company? And I see Lauren is here ready to kick me off the screen already so quickly.
One quick one I can say is if you've been following the summit, you would have heard quite a number of companies sharing. Yesterday we had Miss Reed. We had Tiara Jacqueline on Infinity and Lenise from Droppy. I think today we've also got logistics companies. So yesterday was retail. Today's logistics. We've got like Easy Parcel, Alien Logistics, and Zapto who's going to share. If you've been looking at the videos, you would have seen the satay person, Puan Zaina. Just follow her story. That's fantastic example. And how MCO helped elevate her business 80%, right?
Okay.
20%.
Okay.
The other thing also, just talking about the relationship with private sectors, we don't look at the size, rather we look at the impact.
Okay.
Today, we've got about 200, within the solution providers, we've got about 230 local Malaysian solution providers.
Okay.
Parcel of the grant, and many of them today actually having their own session in the afternoon. Every day we have 12 different sessions, and these are all local solution providers, regardless of their size. Many of them are small ones who are actually coming forward, sharing knowledge, and also giving digital solutions. And I think that is the kind of partnership we're looking at.
Understood. Okay. Lauren, if we need to go, I'll end it at that because the other three may not be able to give a quick example, or do we still have 1 minute? I can quickly ask them.
If you have 1 minute, you can squeeze 3 people into 1 minute. Why not?
3 people, 1 minute. Pauline, give me an example of one. Pauline and then Chan.
Yeah, okay. I think Muhu shared quite a lot of names. Actually, Jennifer from Alien Logistics will be coming up to speak later. She was from our program last year. I think she can share more of her story. And some of the SME stories we had from last year was also Sarai Group and also a homegrown, I would say, vault company called Moam Holdings. They just went online to sell their products. So actually, we will be publishing more and more SME stories from the Malaysian SMEs whom we worked with. So look out for these stories on FinLab website.
Okay.
1 minute, yeah.
Okay, Chan, give an example of one SME and what they did for their digitalization.
I think a very good example is one of my staff, father-in-law's business. They run the traditional kedai runcit, right? And during the MCO, that's where they can't open the retail. And by using our own solutions, they're able to start selling their groceries online and benefit the neighborhood. So now the business is actually throughout Peninsula.
Wow. Okay.
Runcit 303.
Yeah, I think I'd focus a bit on, our advice is focus on your people. Look at what your people are doing, what are the manual processes there, and reflect on what they're doing and influence that. Digi, for example, last 2 years, we've digitized our workforce just on basic things, expenses, travel, all those things. We're now bringing that out to companies in Malaysia through a solution called Alt HR.
Yeah, true. I find your solution very interesting, actually. Okay, with that, we better pass the screen back to Lauren. I thank all of you for your sharing and for the questions that have come from people, and I apologize that we couldn't answer many of the questions. The latest one from Uma Kanapati.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Karamjit. Thank you so much. Another remarkable job as usual. I don't know if you noticed this, but in the beginning, like you just dived right in, and I didn't get to introduce the rest of our panelists officially. So with that, I'm
learning how to swim, so I got to dive. Yeah.
So with that, allow me to thank them personally, each and every single one of them. We have the Director of Business Digital Adoption of MDEC, Muhu, thank you so much. Praveen Rajan, the Chief Digital Officer of Digi Telecommunications. Chan is not here. He's still online, but he's just not here on screen with us. The CEO and founder of Exabytes. Thank you so much. And finally, Pauline, the Senior Vice President of FinTech, Ecosystem Innovation at UB, and the co-head of the FinLab. And finally, Karamjit, thank you so much once again. You guys, on behalf of MDEC, thank you for being a part of the SME Digital Summit 2020. We'll see you.
Okay, take care.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.